Hello everybody, this is Arvind Mohan and you're watching your favorite morning coffee show. Today is 25th August 2021. இன்னைக்கு நல்ல major updates. First, the Indian Army accepts the delivery of granite by a private firm. Why is this an important milestone? We'll take a look at that. Second topic, it is related to COVID. The chief scientist of WHO, Dr. Soumya Swaminathan, says that India may be entering into an endemic stage. What does it mean to us? We'll also take a look at that. Third topic, situation in Afghanistan at a very high level. What's happening around there. What is the outcome after the meet of all G7 leaders. இதை பற்றி ஒரு ஷார்ட் சம்மரி பார்க்கலாம். So these are all the main topics we'll discuss today. And if you've not yet subscribed my channel, please subscribe. Only then you will get my regular updates. Alright, so let's get into the show. The first topic about Indian Army accepting the delivery from a private firm. Before we get into this topic, why are we discussing this? Be it the national media, be it the newspaper, everywhere people talk mainly about, the arrest of the union minister in Bombay, the clash between BJP and Shiv Sena. But why aren't we discussing that in our channel? Why is this more important? Well, there is a reason. The political drama that you see there, these are all the feed for national media for 2 or 3 days. Beyond third day, this will just disappear. Everybody will forget it. But if you look at the topic that we're going to discuss today, the participation of private firm in our defense sector, well, these are all the topics that is going to give us the results for decades to come. Yeah, it's not about a short-term update. It is about the future of our country. This private firm we're talking about is a Nagpur-based firm, that is EEL, Economic Explosives Limited. In the past, we have spoken a lot about participation of private company in defense sector. In fact, we spoke about India Defense Startup Challenge 5.0, those 35 problem statements where there is all these private companies trying to set up the corridor in India to develop these defense equipments in-house. For people who have not already seen this, I will leave the link in the description. Please take a look at it because that is very, very important and relevant to the update that I'm going to share now. Okay, so first is with respect to hand grenade. If you look at the history, Indian Army had been using those vintage hand grenades, that is from World War II. So until now, we have been using that. This multi-mode hand grenade has been designed by Chandigarh-based Terminal Ballistic Research Laboratory, and it is part of DRDO lab. Yeah, and it is now being manufactured by EEL. So this is completely part of the Atmanirbhar initiative that the center has been taking, where we have to be self-reliant on our needs. Defense sector is something that we see a need in the upcoming days because a lot of current the geopolitical situation, that number of reasons, it is high time India becomes self-reliant also on the defense sector. Speaking about this, our defense minister Rajnath Singh has told that this is just the start and there is a lot of such initiatives that is going to come. If you can relate to what I said few days back, there is a ban of import of close to 200 such defense equipments, where all of these will pave the way for the Indian private sector firms to manufacture these defense equipments, which the Indian defense will start using. The ban is going to start by December 2021, and first set of equipments, then the remaining equipments ban just goes in the list until 2024. The key advantages of having private sector firms playing a very vital role in manufacturing this defense equipment and hardware in the country is catering to the need. The second major advantage is with regards to export. Today, if you look at the export of these defense equipments and hardware, the leaders, worldwide, when you look at the statistics from 2016 to 2020, the leaders worldwide is US, followed by Russia. Then we have France and Germany. But if you look at it, US and Russia computes to close to more than 50% of the overall export of such defense equipments. Now, this could become the biggest GDP contributor in the upcoming decades if India can concentrate on manufacturing this defense equipment. So, on one side, the focus is to cater to the local needs of the country's defense system. The second one is on the sophistication, because if you look at it, the current the multi-mode hand grenade that I'm talking about, the wall grenade which we used is from the World War II times. After this, there was no sophistication. In fact, defense experts calls this as a much needed sophistication for safety, because it works in both defensive and offensive mode. This kind of sophistication, our armed force will start receiving time to time if we start manufacturing these equipments indoor. Third advantage is with respect to export. See, with respect to engineering export, for example, we leave aside the defense sector. Even with respect to engineering export, if you look at it, last month we have been on record high. India has a very clear focus on the export targets. All said and done, this is a flagship product for the public-private sector coming together to solve the problems of our country. All right, so this is a great news that I wanted to share with you all. Yeah, now we'll get to the next topic. The chief scientist of World Health Organization, Dr. Soumya Swaminathan, has told that India may be entering into an endemic state. Before we get into this, I think first thing we should see is what is an endemic. How is it different from a pandemic or epidemic? See, these are all most of the times confusing terminologies, and there is a very thin line of demarcation between them by definition. First, we'll start with what is an epidemic. Epidemic is where there is a particular disease, a spread mostly through virus, which affects multiple people in a region, and this is where when WHO identifies that there is an epidemic, then that is where they would come in and ensure that it is curtailed before that is being converted as a pandemic. So, for example, if there is a flu and they're able to take control measures and it doesn't spread outside that region, that is an epidemic, and the epidemic is stopped from converting this into pandemic. So pandemics is something that we already know with COVID. So where the outbreak has come in and it has spread to multiple regions. It has gone outside the region, it has gone to the whole country, to other countries, to a larger scale. So this is called as a pandemic. Now we'll get to endemic. Endemic is where this is specific to a region. Yeah, and it affects at a larger scale of region. For example, an endemic could be to the whole country, where it is so specific only to that region and not outside the region. So now coming back to COVID-19, and what does it mean? It just means that we will start learning to live with COVID. So endemic is endemic the first time that India is facing? No, there are a lot of endemics already in India. If you look at it, chikungunya virus is an endemic in India. Dengue is an endemic in India. Or if you look at a lot of African regions, malaria is an endemic. What does it mean with respect to COVID effect in India? It means that there will be a lot of highs and lows. That could be some peak that could come, again it could dip. So there'll be highs and lows throughout the country moving forward from now. Or it could affect specific age group or specific region, specific people inside the country more, and then again it will subside. So this is the kind of chart that we will start living with, and I guess we should start learning to live with COVID, like how we already know how to live with chikungunya and dengue. Next topic is situation in Afghanistan. In the past, we also spoke about this Panjshir province, which is giving a huge resistance to Taliban. Now this is under the leadership of Amrullah Saleh and Ahmad Massoud. So this is a big retaliation that has been planned, where there is a huge resistance to Taliban to capture this one province. But now in the recent development, we already hear a lot of reports stating that this particular province, Panjshir, is now surrounded by Taliban, and all the access to this region has been cut. So this is more of mountain terrain and with valleys, and since it's been surrounded across by Taliban, so now the access for all the needed materials inside the province is now been cut. People there might get into a risk where they might not have access to medicines, food, or other kind of emergency support that is needed. So probably now the report says that the only comforting point is where Tajikistan is trying to support people of that country by providing needed medicine or food, or probably weaponry support also to the militants. So this is on one side that it goes. But however, this cannot go for long because it is surrounded across. So probably now Taliban is also looking forward for peace talk with those resistant leaders. So this is on one side. What is the situation in Kabul airport? Well, each of the countries, it is very, very clear. The first target is evacuation. For instance, India has now been successfully able to keep up its word with the next set of evacuation that happened early this week. And similar to that, US is also very much focused on completing its evacuation. Report says that there was also a secret mission of meet with the CIA top chief with the Taliban top brass. So there has also been a meet. What are the major outcomes of the meeting that happened with all the G7 leaders? First thing, to pull out the US troops from Afghanistan, the deadline is not extended. So it ends with 31st August. Yeah, it doesn't extend anymore. Second part, where Joe Biden has told that today, if you look at it, United Nations and the European Union, the NATO community, so all of them have come in confluence with one single decision, that they will wait and watch, and all their decision depends on the action of Taliban. Yeah, and not by the mere words of the spokesperson of Taliban. So these are all on one side, but the plan is very clear. Everybody is very much focused to close the evacuation process. They've also told that to close this evacuation by 31st August 2021, it again depends on the cooperation of Taliban, because if they make it very difficult to complete the evacuation process, then it might be very challenging to meet this timeline. Alright, so we have come to the end of the show. Hope you enjoyed it. Please leave your comments on what you think about this public-private partnership with Defense Corridor. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Alright, see you tomorrow. Cheers, and let me continue to enjoy my coffee. Thank you.